Just a thought. Did you think about why you became a teacher? For those of you who are thinking about becoming teachers, this is a good time to think about that too, why you're choosing this. For those of you who are veterans, who've been teaching for a while or a short while, it doesn't have to be forever, just for a little while, do you remember why you became a teacher? Well, do you? I do. Let me tell you a story. I always loved history. Although I didn't like telling my dad that because my dad would stop and read signs. He'd stop on the highway and go find one of those historical signs and read it. And I turned into my father. He loved all kinds of history, and I'm pretty sure I picked up my love of it from him. And history's fun. History's amazing. There's so much to learn. There's so much going on there. But I had 3 history teachers in high school that, they had other things going on in their lives, I guess, because I'll never forget those 3 individuals. And just as a side note, I grew up in Florida where at the time when I was in high school, you could go to summer school free of charge and take classes to get ahead. It wasn't just kids who had failed classes or something like that. You also had kids like me who were taking classes so they could take more classes during the regular year. I know some of you are going, what? Are you nuts? But yeah, that's what I did. I took more classes so I could get ahead. And so I took my history classes during summer. And I'll never forget my sophomore history teacher. His way of teaching us history was that when we walked into class, every day we knew that he was going to ask us for our homework, which were the questions at the end of the chapter or the end of the unit or whatever that section was. And you put them in the basket, and he would return then the questions, and he would have graded the ones that you turned in the day before. And then he would open up his book to whatever page he left off in, and he would start reading. Now, reading to the kids is good for strategy once in a while, right? But this was every day. Can you imagine what those lesson plans looked like? Yes, but they were very easy. You probably duplicated them from year to year. And there was no fun in there, no engagement. It was just compliance because he was a nice guy, but yeah, he obviously had something else going on. So, my junior year teacher, now, by the way, remember, high school in those days was 10th, 11th, and 12th, all right, where I grew up. And we had something called junior highs, which were 7th, 8th, and 9th. So my 11th grade history teacher, that was a gentleman who, in off years, every other year, he was a dean. He was an assistant principal who did discipline. And so the in-between years, he was a history teacher. Now, he was a little bit better because I kind of enjoyed his class, understood where it was going, but pretty much you knew that you were going to watch movies on Friday, some historical movie, and you knew that you were going to have questions over that movie. And you also knew that you're going to have lectures every day, and you would take notes. And if you were smart, which I figured out, because one of the things that he taught me was that the class was a game where he was trying to make sure that nobody got an A. And I saw that as a challenge. And so I figured out what his game was. And his questions on the test that were hardest came from the little orange boxes that were in the textbook that most kids would ignore, going, oh, hey, that's not part of the main reading. I don't have to read that. Well, that's where he pulled his hardest questions from. Yes. So I started reading those, realizing that if I just paid attention in class, that this game that he was playing worked like this. If I just paid attention, took notes, I'm going to do pretty good on the main stuff. But the hard questions are those orange boxes. So study those orange boxes. And that's what I did. Set the curve in the class. Became a game. Wasn't an engaging class. Wasn't a lot of fun. Don't remember a lot of it, except for I learned to play that game. And now my senior history teacher, he was a whole nother thing. I think he had a whole different world that he enjoyed that was not history. And basically, you took notes, comprehensive notes. He would give you questions at the end of the chapter or the unit or whatever, and his tests were very easy. And all I really remember about his class was that, he was worked out a lot, and he had giant muscles. And he liked to tell us about that a lot, that all his workouts and so forth. And nothing against that, but it's just that was part of his, his discussion in class, his latest workout, as well as his 2 front teeth needed a little bit of an alignment. So other than that, those were my 3 history teachers. And I knew that history could be so much more fun and engaging than that. And so that was my goal, was to make history fun. I wanted the kids to know that it was so much better than what they probably thought. Because, one of the things that drove me nuts as a history teacher is kids walk into your class and go, do I have to know this? Is this going to be on the test? Do we have to memorize dates? Do we have to memorize names? Blah, 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 blah. It's just part of what any history teacher is used to. So the challenge was to make it fun. Now, as I became a teacher and I learned that I worked on learning from colleagues how to make my classes engaging and how to make them fun and challenging and so forth, I also learned that teaching was much more than that, and that you also were like a counselor, and you also were like a coach, and you also were like a cheerleader, and there's so many more things that you needed to understand when it came to teaching. And that's when I realized that why I'm a teacher is to help kids achieve their dreams. What about you? During these times of the pandemic, I hope that you remind yourself, because you should be about helping kids achieve their dreams. And that should be something that helps inspire you to do more, because now, let's face it, we need to. With all those little boxes, those Zoom calls and things like that, and even Zoom meetings that you have to have on other side, and whether today we're face-to-face or tomorrow we're back in the Zoom world, it's going to challenge you to say, why am I doing this? It's going to make you go, is this really what I want to do? And you're going to want to give up. And I got to tell you, remind yourself about why you became a teacher. And if you became a teacher to help kids achieve their dreams, dude, just got to keep reminding it, that this is why you did it. And figure out how you can keep reminding yourself and what you can do to inspire yourself to go back in, make engaging lessons, even with the Zoom topics and the virtual learning, right? You can do that. Just remind yourself why you became a teacher. And that's going to help. Put it on a sign somewhere in your room, somewhere where you can see it, somewhere on your computer or beyond the screen, so that you see it whenever you're going. So ask yourself, after you get finished listening to me, why'd you become a teacher? And if it's about kids and making them want to do more, want to learn more, and helping the light bulbs go off in their heads, helping them figure out and achieve their dreams, you can use that to help you get through this. So just a thought. Ta-ta.